Good morning, everyone. This is Eloise. Welcome back to our Digital Technologies Microlearning Sprint here with Coding Kids. So far we've covered 2 out of 3 approaches to solving problems. So those were computational thinking, first of all, which is a more linear method of problem solving. It leads you to create an algorithm that will then solve a problem in a step-by-step manner. Then yesterday we talked about design thinking, which is an iterative method of problem solving that has you going back and forth and in and out between the 5 different steps that make up the process. Now today we're talking about systems thinking. Now, according to the ACARA definition, systems thinking is a more holistic approach to problem solving. It involves looking at all the different parts that make up your solution. It involves looking at the relationship between each component of a system to see what influences how the system functions. Now, unlike computational and design thinking, there isn't necessarily a strict method for executing systems thinking. But to make all of your lives easier, let's look at an example of how you can apply the concepts illustrated in the systems thinking rationale. I'm just going to try and turn this camera around. There we go. Okay, so here we have a project that you might be able to use in an HASS classroom. In this project, the monkey needs to navigate his way through the maze to collect only items that might belong in an emergency kit for a natural disaster. To collect items, the monkey needs to be touching an item. So then the user needs to press the space bar. There we go. And the monkey will collect an item. And we can tell that he has collected this item by noting the score in the top left corner, just up here. So, let's say you've made this game and are testing to see if it works. You collect the baked beans, which were up here, the flashlight, just here, and the water bottle, which is here. But your game doesn't display a "you win" screen like it should. This is where systems thinking comes in handy. For your game or your system to work, you first need to work out what elements actually make up your system. So in this case, we have our monkey character, we have our keyboard inputs, that would be using my arrow keys to move my monkey around and my space bar. We have our items that should be picked up, so those would be our baked beans, our flashlight, our water bottle, and our emergency kit, which I didn't point out before, but it's just up here. And then we have our items that shouldn't be picked up. So our bananas, our piano, and our soccer ball. Then finally, we have our score counter and our end card. You then need to figure out the role of each element with respect to one another. So with our monkey character, for example, when he makes contact with the items, the user should be able to pick them up using the spacebar. With our keyboard input, so as I said before, when the monkey is standing on the item, the user should be able to pick them up using the spacebar. Then we have our items that should be picked up. So when these items are picked up, the score counter should increase by 1. And with our items that shouldn't be picked up, well, they should display a pop-up message saying you won't need this item in an emergency if the player tries to pick it up. Then we have our score counter, which should increase when a correct item is picked up, and it should not increase when a player attempts to pick up a non-useful item, for example, the piano. Then finally, our end card, it needs to display the screen "you win" when you get all the correct items. Okay, so we now need to analyze the relations between each of the elements and figure out where the issue is going wrong. So for example, it might be our end card and our score counter. Have you coded the end card to display when the score counter reaches a certain number? Well, if not, then there's never going to actually be a concrete ending to the game. And then vice versa, what about our items in our score counter? If the score counter isn't going up when you pick up the items, well, then the end card is never going to display once again. Then that's all we actually have time for today. That's all it is. It's pretty simple. Now, once again, if you haven't already, then don't forget to sign up for our Teacher PD certificate. If you complete those 10 mini quizzes, 1 quiz for each video, then you can get a certificate for an hour of Teacher PD. The link to sign up is in the description down below, or I'll put it there very, very soon. That's all for today. This is Eloise, signing off. We'll see you tomorrow.